Early French Immersion is a school program in which the teaching and learning happen in French. In Prince Edward Island, the program begins in grade 1 and the students spend a minimum of 90% of the day in French. This video will allow you into a French Immersion grade 1 classroom from the early days in September to the end of the school year. It will show the progress that the students make in 1 year, as well as give you an overview of the learning environment. Let's now enter a grade 1 classroom. It is early September. Bienvenue en première année.
Bonjour, Hannah. Bonjour. Bonjour, Logan. Bonjour. Bonjour, Michaela.
From the beginning, the teacher speaks to the students in French. Students can usually understand because the words are used in context. They will respond mostly in English, but they will occasionally use French words. Classroom environment and routines, like the calendar, help students to predict and to imitate the teacher.
Septembre. Et on colorie jaune. Tu vas colorier tout.
Red?
Non, jaune.
Yellow?
Jaune, oui.
In learning situations, the teacher continues talking in French to a student until the student understands. It is important to create a secure and positive classroom atmosphere where language learning happens as naturally as possible.
Oui, et colorier.
Yes.
Oui. Bonjour. Bonjour.
Songs and puppets are a wonderful way to learn French. They allow for repetitions of words and sentences without the use of drills.
Bonjour.
Soon, students can write their own book using the patterns that they have seen in songs.
Bonjour, maman. Bonjour, madame. Bonjour, c'est monsieur. Bonjour, mes amis.
Ah.
Songs can also be a good vehicle for learning to read, recognizing certain sounds or sight words. Movement also helps students to understand the meaning of the language and gives them a chance to be active.
Le chapeau est sur le chat et papa. Et on va piger 2, 4. 2. Tu piges 2 et c'est brun, c'est jaune.
In grade 1, using a variety of learning situations is important, from teacher-led activities to small group learning. During learning centers, students are working in small groups, practicing skills like word recognition, spelling patterns, or word association that were previously taught in a larger setting.
Vert. OK, tu vas mettre sur vert. Est-ce que Juno, il est content comme ça ou Juno est triste? Triste.
Books are introduced to students from the very first day of school. Some of the key words are explained before the story, while the pictures support understanding. It is important for students to associate French with more complex ideas than the day-to-day classroom routine. The motivation for learning to read can come from being read interesting stories.
De la colle partout.
We are now in the middle of October. Students are taking more and more responsibilities in the classroom and are starting to use the language to communicate.
October.
Maman, c'est mon...
In French Immersion, the teacher often uses a theme or a subject familiar to students, like the family, to explore written and oral language. Concepts close to daily life are easily transferable, and students can bring their own experience to the learning activities. They can use pictures to present their family, recognize sight words of family members, or learn the sounds associated with family words.
Comment on écrit famille?
Papa, Jeff. C'est mon maman, Regan. C'est mon frère, Hanson. C'est mon sœur, Simpson.
Ça, c'est un loup. Qui peut me trouver le mot loup dans ça? où est le loup?
After Christmas, the reading program becomes more complex. Students will not only read as a whole class, but will also work in smaller groups. This type of arrangement allows the teacher to work on specific reading strategies with students, while the rest of the class is involved in independent reading activities. Teachers can also use that time to meet one-on-one with a student and hold a reading conference. Reading conferences are an opportunity for the teacher to discuss reading progress with a student and identify successes and challenges for the developing reader. Students are encouraged to choose reading material that is both appropriate and interesting. They are involved in a decision-making process with the teacher's guidance. The reading period usually concludes with a sharing activity, where students can demonstrate what they have been working on during the reading period. In many French immersion schools, reading with older students in French is a popular activity. It is beneficial to both age groups to practice reading together. By the end of the school year, students can express themselves more naturally in French. In this example, the students are describing a picture of summer activities using the language they know.
Les cochons jouent au baseball. Do you want to jouer au soccer? Oui, oui, la grenouille et nez rouge fait un pique-nique et Rari jouer au golf. Bonjour Julie. Bonjour Namu et Hamina. Comment ça va? Ça va bien.
They can also improvise a dialogue between puppets.
Est-ce que tu vas à la plage avec moi? Oui. Yes. La classe de maternelle Arsenal avec Glenn de Nadia Caron de l'école Spring Park vous présente aujourd'hui les 17 petits chevaux et le vieil lutte.
French immersion students will have many opportunities to participate in cultural activities. These might include school visits, special events during French Week, a provincial contest, or, in this case, participation in the provincial French Drama Festival. These events are an important part of the French immersion program, as they allow students to participate in a real French situation outside of the classroom. They meet other students who speak French and live a French experience that they will remember for a long time. By showing you samples of classroom activities, this video gave you an idea of the learning environment in a Grade 1 French immersion classroom. It also demonstrated how learning and language progress consistently during this very important first year.